On a previous Little Did I Know, I took you down the road to Fort Rock, which was the site of a discovery in the 1950s of some sandals that, after carbon dating, revealed themselves to be around 10,000 years old. Around that same time, indigenous tribes started showing up in the Grand Canyon. But little did I know that the indigenous populations mostly stayed out of the canyon because of its dangerous cliffs and sparse food resources. But around 1100 AD, some ancient Puebloans settled in this area on the delta down along the Colorado River below. Some ruins from that settlement can still be found to this day. Now, this tribe was not nomadic. They were farmers, so they farmed what little land they had and what little food they had to learn to preserve and keep out of the reach of critters and thieves. So they climbed. And they climbed. And on this day, so did we, to get up close with their handiwork.
Anything in there?
Nope. You guys can go up and get close and look at them, but please do not touch.
The Nankoweap Graneries are one of the most iconic and well-preserved sites in the Grand Canyon. And thanks to my 360 video camera and my friend Jamie, you can now get a look at the inside of one of them. Think about it, over 900 years ago, the ancient Puebloans left their mark on this canyon that is intact and entrancing to this day. But if you want to talk old, there are very few spots in the world that compare to this nondescript-looking slot canyon that conceals not only one of the most significant geological sites in the canyon, but one of the most significant in the world.
This location is exposing the great unconformity, which there's actually 1.2 billion years of rock record missing. So you know that the Vishnu schist and the Zoroaster granite, the basement rocks here, are 1.75 billion years old, and the overlying Tapete sandstone at this location is 505 to 515 million years old. And the contact, just the little line between the two, represents a gap in the rock record at this location of more than 1.2 billion years. But you can get up close and put your hand across that 1.2 billion year gap in the rock record, right there.
The gap in the geological record is because of the kind of sediment deposited during that time, combined with the forces of erosion during the missing time period.
And then you can also, and the geologist that showed us, put her lips across the
That gap in time is 6 times longer than the entirety of time that humans have walked the Earth. Walking back into this canyon is like walking back in time to when only microbes and single-celled organisms ruled the Earth. Finally, little did I know, the first known circumnavigation of the entire Grand Canyon happened in 1869. John Wesley Powell, an amputee from the Civil War, led an expedition down the canyon with 10 men and 4 boats. After losing a boat and a man quitting the expedition just 2 weeks into the trip, the group pushed on, facing starvation and drowning for weeks. Until one fateful day, they came upon a rapid unlike anything they had seen so far. 3 of the men, who were starving with rags for clothes and completely demoralized, decided they would rather attempt to climb up the canyon walls than face drowning. So they abandoned the expedition and started climbing. Thinking it could be their final act, Powell and the remaining crew went headlong into the rapids with fear in their eyes. Unlike us, who had the safety of a proper boat and a competent captain that transformed any fear we had into exhilaration. While the remaining 2 boats of the Powell expedition did get battered from rock to rock and the men came out waterlogged and half drowned, miraculously, they all survived. But in a bittersweet twist of fate, just days later they arrived near the bottom of the canyon to safety, but the 3 men who abandoned the expedition were never heard from again. The rest of the Colorado River was much easier for Powell as it was for us. Of it, he wrote, "The wonders of the Grand Canyon cannot be adequately represented in symbols of speech, nor by speech itself." Amen, Major Powell. Amen. For Central Oregon Daily News, I'm Scott Elmas.